Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button, also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chat channel donations, Venmo, and the Patreon family. We working. Also, shout out to Gulf News. They have an article exclusive interview with heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua. He said some interesting things. He's basically talking about the economy of boxing is back up. He feels as far as a heavyweight, he's a part of that, which I definitely agree with. Joshua Klitschko, really an all-time classic, definitely a classic for this year. And he says boxing's in a good place. I don't disagree with that. 2017 has been wonderful. Now, he also talked about some other things that I want to get to. And he says, and I quote, "When I fought Vladimir Klitschko, he wasn't on social media saying, 'I want to fight Anthony Joshua.' We worked on it behind closed doors, got a deal done, and then announced it to the public. That's how a true professional does business. With the new era of boxing, and what I haven't got respect for is athletes like that." So I guess he was probably jabbing Fury and Wilder, who are on social media a bit more. He said, "Fights can happen, and I've been taking these fights since my 15th contest." He says, 2018 just around the corner, and I hope a lot of people's dreams come true with fights becoming a reality. I just hope we can make things happen. If not, my boxing still kind of moves forward. The fight will happen. It's just a case of when. Then he replies to some of the Wilder talk. He said, "There are certain dreams that you have, but you can't remember, and others that you wake up from thinking, wow, this was real, and I just feel like I could beat Wilder for sure. The proof is also in the pudding. I've had a stellar amateur career, and I've had a more stellar resume. The only thing I haven't added to the pudding is the cherry on top, and that's the fight," right? He also talks about considering himself a legend, and he says, "No, I don't, because you are never a true great until you finish. That's when you are truly appreciated. We'll be making waves, but a king can never sit down too long. People will always want to come to battle you, and if you're a king in your sport, you have to go out and defend your front. If I do beat Wilder or Fury, who knows? Klitschko might come back, and then I have to get up again and do it again. So until I retire, I can never call myself a king or a great of my sport. I will have to continue time and time again to prove that." And I agree with that. I mean, look at guys like Floyd Mayweather, really this generation's best boxer, most accomplished, most successful, etc. And he really didn't get the credit while he was here in the sport. Like Biggie Smalls has a song, "That's real, it's like Puffy." Shout out to Biggie Smalls, rest in peace. But he has a song called "You're Nobody Until Somebody Kills You." You're nobody till somebody kills you. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing for boxing, but instead of dying in the physical sense, it's your career dying, like when you decide to hang them up, and then that's when you're somebody. That's when people can now look back and say, "Oh man, remember that Floyd fight?" Or even people want Floyd to come back and fight Keith Thurman or Triple G or Canelo. Give Canelo a rematch. Give Conor McGregor a rematch. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I agree with him on that. That's when people truly miss you. You know what I mean? When you hang them up and they don't have you anymore. I mean, because I mean, real talk. I've even had that with girls. Like I've dated a certain girl and she held me down, good girl, sex is good, all that. And then, you know what I mean? Whatever reason we break up, right? We break up, and then that's when you realize, like, damn, she really was good. She cooked. She was nice to me. You know what I mean? She was like, listen to my problem. So you don't realize that. So I agree with Joshua right there. You know what I mean? People don't realize you don't know what you got till it's gone. Now, what I don't agree with Joshua, and we're going to break it down, and I'm also going to do a live stream later, because that's how I put people in the hot seat. That's how we could really get this conversation engaging, because every time I do videos like this, people have so much to say and so many disagreements in the conversation. So you guys will have your opportunity, and the title and the conversation is going to be about this same fight, new media. We're going to keep talking about it and keep talking about it till we see some damn results. And this is what I disagree with Joshua. Where do I begin? Regarding this interview. He says, when I fought Klitschko wasn't on social media saying I want to fight Anthony Joshua. We worked behind closed doors. Now, I get what Joshua's saying. In a perfect world. In a perfect world, that's how business is conducted, in the sense of, hey, I want to fight you, you want to fight me, we can make a lot of money. And in a perfect world, that's how it would go. But this is 2017. We're about to expand on 2018. We're about to enter a whole new year. Everything's different. You know what I mean? Music is different. Like, listen to the music that's out now versus when Tupac and Biggie were alive. You know what I mean? Things are different. So I don't agree with what Joshua was saying here, because it's like it's so squeaky clean, cookie cutter clean, and that's just simply not how this era or this generation works. And I'm a firm believer of, if you don't evolve, if you don't make adjustments, if you don't adapt, you become extinct like dinosaurs. You know what I mean? People look at people on social media, like even myself, not even to toot my own horn or to gloat, but people who stay ahead of the curve, and like, I could type fast, I know computers, things like that. I opened up social medias and got those popping. Open the YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Different stuff. People that stay ahead of the curve like that usually are more successful if you innovate and you stay up with technology and use your resources, use cell phone, you know what I mean? Different things to your disposal and your aid. So it's just a whole different era in terms of really everything. We got information at their fingertips. Like, I don't watch much TV, but on my phone I got a random alert saying there's an earthquake yesterday in Iraq, a big earthquake. A lot of people died. I just simply got a message on my phone to get updated, and then I read the article. You know what I'm saying? So things are done different. That's, you know what I mean? This is not back in the day. And like I said, I understand that Joshua's like, oh, behind closed doors, that's how thing. But you see tons of Twitter fingers and different fights, and sometimes they can't get made just from social media pressure. Like, if you look at Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko, I don't think that was Top Rank's next directive to fight Rigondeaux, but Rigondeaux was putting on so much pressure via social media, it would look bad. It would look very bad for Team Lomachenko to just keep overlooking it, when based on Rigondeaux getting it popping and constantly making comics and memes and different stuff about him. If he just said, oh, I'm going on to fight Machado or somebody lesser known than Rigondeaux, you know what I'm saying? Like, people would have been like, you just look at the comment section. They're like, fight Rigo. You're my favorite fighter. Beat Rigondeaux. Fight Rigondeaux. So at some point, with pressure like this, social media pressure, and even Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, pretty much admits this. He says with social media, fights can get made quicker. So your own promoter is in a sense debunking what you're saying. That's one issue. He's like, oh, Klitschko, the fight happened behind closed doors. Like I said, that's in a perfect world. Yeah, that's how fights should happen. I mean, it's no different than a weigh-in. Like, some weigh-ins are peaceful and the guys just weigh in and after shake their hand. I'm at the fights, I see it. Sometimes they just weigh in, do the face off, take the picture, and then shake each other's hand and then bounce. Sometimes people start pushing you, or, you know what I mean, slap you or whatever. I remember Derek Chisora kissed a man. I forgot who it was, but he kissed somebody in the lips. Like, what? He's wilding. You know what I'm saying? So again, I understand in a perfect world this is how things operate, but this is a brutal sport. This is a violent sport. This is a sport with some guys have no mercy. Some guys have the biggest heart. You know what I mean? You know, so it's just different. So you have to be prepared to adjust to different stuff. Like, yes, a weigh-in's supposed to be professional. You're not supposed to touch the other person. But if somebody touches you, then you gotta kind of fight back. And that's why I disagree with Joshua when he's talking about the Klitschko. Here's another thing. Klitschko's 41 years old. Wilder's not. Tyson Fury's not. They're not. If Klitschko was in high school and they all went to high school in America, Klitschko would graduate in a different class in a different year than Wilder and Tyson Fury. So there's also certain generational gaps. Like my pops, my dad, he don't have social media account. He don't have a Facebook. He don't have a Twitter. So there's just different generational gaps. So that might not be Klitschko's lane to be talking and calling out somebody because he's a 41-year-old man. You know what I'm saying? So what Jay-Z's doing right now is going to be different than what Lil Pump or one of these other mumble rappers with the dyed hair is doing. So that's another difference. Another reason why I disagree is just sometimes it's generational things. Like I said, my dad's not on social media, but I'm a king of social media when it comes to my niche. So it's just generational things. Klitschko is 41, right? So why would he be on social media calling you out? Like, I follow all these dudes, Wilder, Anthony Joshua, and when Anthony Joshua is in Dubai with his buddies and having a good time, he posts Instagram stories. If he's in the gym jump roping, skip rope or whatever, he's posting Instagram stories. And I follow Klitschko on Instagram too. I ain't never seen Klitschko post an Instagram story ever. Every time I barely even seen him post anything. So that's another thing you have to consider. So you're comparing a 41-year-old man to what Tyson Fury's doing and what Wilder's doing. And of course, there's probably going to be inherent differences just based on the age gap. The music Klitschko listens to is not going to be the same music that an 18-year-old would listen to, more than likely. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. Another reason, the final reason, this one's big, why I disagree with this perfect presentation of how fights are made, is because I strongly believe, and I believe this in my heart, I strongly believe that people, mankind, creatures, they're creatures of habit and creatures of necessity. Meaning, based on your individual situation, that's going to determine what you do and how you respond and how you act, right? My favorite fighter, Mike Tyson, he grew up in a rough part of New York, Brownsville, Catskill. So when he was a kid, when he's 13, 14, coming up poor, poverty stricken and stuff like that, I'm ecstatic. I'm gonna eat his face. I want to kill him. Like, he was robbing people and beating people up and shit at a very young age. So that's what he felt was necessary for him. And then obviously he got with Cuss, and Cuss took him out the hood and refined his skills and all that. But as it relates to this fight, Klitschko is a brand. Klitschko is a respected person. He will go down as a Hall of Famer and as a legend. And for decades, it was the Klitschko brothers. After Lennox Lewis retired, in fact, it was all about the Klitschkos. There was really no names that were uttered in a breath that would get more like attention or notoriety than either Klitschko, Vitaly, or Vladimir. So again, people are creatures. See, we can both, I could talk smart and I could talk like eloquent and break this stuff down too, like Joshua was doing. And like I said, for the longest, it was all about the Klitschkos. It was really the Klitschkos or bust. There was a couple of people from time to time, Kubrat Pulev and David Hayes and stuff, that people thought could give the Klitschkos a run for their money. And a lot of them dudes, most of them dudes came up short. So my whole point is this: Klitschko is a brand. He's established. He's a Hall of Famer. So you're going to do what's necessary for you. A 41-year-old Klitschko, on top of just a generational gap and him not really even being on social media, even on his just to post anything. He doesn't really post that much. Aside from that, he's him. If he would have beat Anthony Joshua, it would have just been like, oh, he beat another top level up and coming name and stuff like that, because he's been doing that. He's done that. David Hay was a guy who was same thing and knocking people out, and Audley Harrison got knocked out. People thought David Hay could really beat Klitschko. So it would have just been another body to his body count. But it actually benefited Joshua more because he was the younger cat and this was a firm step up in class. So it's like, whoa, Joshua beat Klitschko and knocked him out. That was his coming of age story. So the circumstances are different. You kind of needed Klitschko probably a bit more than he needed you in the grand sense of a name. Klitschko's been doing this at a high level. We got like 60 plus fights. You know what I mean? So back to this whole argument that I'm making of necessity. It's not necessary for Klitschko to be like doing what Wilder's doing, because he in fact is a name, and he fought and was popular in Germany. And I mean, the fight took place at Wembley, so I guess it's debatable who was the A side, but no one can doubt, even coming off of a loss, the brand of Klitschko, the name of Klitschko. It was a huge name, and that's why, again, people are saying Joshua's resume is better than Wilder, really based on that fight, because you beat a Klitschko. You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessary for Klitschko to not handle it behind the doors and put pressure on you and call you out. But for Wilder, we know Wilder's story. We know he's tried to fight 2 top level guys at least that failed drug tests, and those fights never came off. So his situation, again, his necessity is going to be different than the Klitschko. Klitschko, you've seen after the Joshua fight, he retired because he's had a long, healthy career. You know, he's already accomplished what he's needed to. He made a lot of money, etc. So you can't compare. It's not apples and apples when people's circumstances are totally different. Wilder, through no fault of his own, has not been able to fight 2 top level guys that he could have fought, at least 2, right? And that's Povetkin and Luis King Kong Ortiz. So he's not in the same position as Klitschko, where he's like, oh, I'm a definite Hall of Famer if I hang him up right now and this and that. You know what I mean? He's still trying to prove stuff. He's still hungry, right? So you can't compare. Oh yeah, Klitschko, he did it like a true professional. He did it all behind closed doors. Wilder, first of all, Wilder's from the hood. You know what I'm saying? So that's one issue. He's from the hood, so his whole demeanor is probably going to be different. But 2, he's not in a Klitschko position. He's not in a position like where he doesn't necessarily need you based on having a long, illustrious career without you. You know what I mean? Wilder knows that to get true recognition, he has to beat someone who's on top that'll get him respect, like a Joshua, maybe even a Joseph Parker, Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? So that's why he's gunning for you. So I disagree with Joshua here, because I think part of Wilder, what he's doing is brilliant, and I think he's doing it because it's necessary for his situation. And most of what I'm saying can't even be denied, because you have Eddie Hearn, who's basically corroborating it. He did an interview. Eddie Hearn did an interview talking about, he said Wilder's doing a great job of piggybacking using Joshua's name. So it's like Joshua's own promoter is almost contradicting what Joshua is saying. If you think about it, Joshua's saying, hey, when I fought Klitschko, he wasn't on social media trying to push and make the fight. We worked on it like true professionals behind closed doors. But then your own promoter did an interview with Seconds Out, Radio Raheem. Shout out to my dude, Raheem. And he's saying Wilder's doing a good job and trying to make Joshua look bad. He's doing a good job of piggybacking using Joshua's name to build his profile. So your own promoter is basically saying the opposite of what you're saying. You're saying that's not how true professionals get down and does business. But then your own promoter, a promoter, is saying he's doing a good job because he's using Joshua's name to build up hype. And I actually agree with Eddie Hearn there. I think he is doing a good job, because you have people like me, 100,000 subscribers and counting, you know what I mean, plus subscribers and counting, and I'm making videos about this subject, and the engagement there is people's talking about it. So I don't agree with this, like, this perfect world. Boxing is not a perfect world. Sometimes we see premature stoppages. Sometimes we see bullshit scorecards, Adelaide Bird, different things like that. So it's not a perfect world like the way Joshua's making it. Like, oh yeah, Klitschko, he was a true professional. He wasn't on social media trying to make the fight. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone's like that. Just like I said with the weigh-in example. Some people are cordial and shake your hand after they grill you and stare you down. Some people is trying to push you and talk shit. Look at Daniel Jacobs versus Luis Cuba Arias. Arias was in his grill talking shit the whole time. He's like, who hitting the deck? This dude got a paper chin. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You know what I mean? So Danny Jacobs, as a fighter, he had to adjust to what was coming at. See, I'm a firm believer. I'm a believer of matching intensities. You know what I'm saying? What you're given, the energy you receive is the energy you can let off. So I understand Joshua has, like I said, endorsement deals and you know what I mean, maybe wants to convey something for the kids and stuff like that. And oh yeah, but Klitschko, he was a true professional. Well, guess what? Not everyone's going to be the same maturity level as a 41-year-old. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is that none of that changes it. The bottom line to me as a fight fan is Wilder's trying to embarrass you, and it's a good fight, and you're saying the proof is in the pudding, I can beat him. So that's even the argument that I said. Not about who would win, but Joshua got a gold medal and Wilder got a bronze medal. So I mean, why would we have to potentially wait till 2020 to see the fight? You say you have a better pro resume, and you say you have a gold medal to his bronze. So it's like, what are we waiting for? It doesn't matter when Wilder turned pro, because according to you, you have a better resume. So it doesn't matter that he has more fights than you, because you have a better resume. You medaled higher in the Olympics. Now, the final thing on this particular interview that I want to talk about, that he said that I disagree with, was he was just saying, I'm just saying, if he says he could beat Wilder and stuff, it's a good fight. You'll make money. Let's see it. And like, you look at little stuff. Like I said, just listen to what people say, including me. Joshua did an interview, and he was saying that I never got a contract. I'm not sure that Wilder even really wants to fight. But again, I've covered boxing long enough to see how things go down. And when does the B side issue an agreement or send a contract to the A side? And that's part of what Team Joshua has very plainly put. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So, for example, Eddie Hearn did an interview, and he says Anthony Joshua is worth 7 times more than Deontay Wilder. He's 7 times the value in terms of his package, his star power, his star power, what he brings to the table. His value is 7 times greater. And he was saying we're actually having to overpay guys just to make these fights, like Carlos Takam, because Joshua is a big superstar. So if that's not celebrating someone's A-sideness and saying that the A-side, I don't know what else you could do to express that. You know what I mean? You say you're worth 7 times more than Wilder. So if that is the case, like the team is saying, which I don't think most people are denying, that Joshua with the Klitschko fight, and then, you know what I mean, fight more than one fight where they've sold 70 to 90,000 tickets. Okay, he's the A side. So once again, my point is this: when does the B side send the A side a contract? Which is also the perfect world, cookie cutter clean theory that Joshua is saying in interviews. And I just haven't seen that. Like Floyd Mayweather, we knew he was the A side. Robert the Ghost Guerrero, Canelo Alvarez, them dudes have been calling out Mayweather for over a year, both of them. And Guerrero was the mandatory. And at the end of the day, Mayweather's a boss. He's the A side. So when he felt the fight was what the public wanted or whatever, and it would make money, and he wanted to fight him, he chose them people. You know what I mean? Maidana didn't send Floyd a contract. Maidana was in some kind of fucking Mayweather poll with Amir Khan. You know what I'm saying? And then Maidana got chose. And that's how it typically happens. Even look at Miguel Cotto versus Sergio Martinez. Sergio Martinez was the champion. He was the champion, but Cotto got top billing because he was the A side. If you go look at the fight posters, go look at the build up, the hashtags, that fight was called Cotto Martinez, even though Cotto was coming up to his division to try for history for Puerto Rican fighters and become a 4-division champ or whatever it was, 4 or 5, and he got top billing over the champion. So once again, usually the B side is the person who looks over the contracts, makes sure they're not getting fucked over, and everything adds up, and you know, everything's fair to their liking, and they really just sign on the dotted line. So I don't understand that also with what Joshua is saying, is why would a B side send the A side the contract? When does that happen? Like I said, Maidana got chose by Floyd Mayweather. Amir Khan was hoping he got chose, but Maidana's the one that got chose. Maidana wasn't sending Floyd shit. You know what I mean? Even with that glove fiasco with the padding and stuff, Maidana, he got some step aside money, but it really went the A side's direction, what Floyd felt. He was like, nah, these gloves are suspect. So that's my thoughts on it, man. You guys let me know what you guys think. Overall, it's a good fight. I understand what Joshua is saying. Like I hear what he's saying, but I don't feel it. Like I don't understand it, because we all know boxing is not a sport where everything is fair, everything is just clear to see and works out perfectly. Like I said with the weighing example, some people are combative at the weigh-ins and some people aren't. Some people could get knocked out and make excuses. Some people are humble in defeat. You know what I mean? So this whole, oh, Klitschko, he wasn't running around on social media calling me out. Yeah, but Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, they're from a different generation. They're not 41 years old. Maybe when they get to that age, 41, maybe they slow up and they don't do those things either. You know what I mean? But maybe they're not even fighting anymore. Who knows? So that's my thoughts. Just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, son. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.